I'll never forget the way my nanny, Elena, stood rooted to our front lawn, her hands gripping my son's dinosaur sippy cup, her face a mask of disbelief. A woman with a razor-sharp bob and oversized Gucci sunglasses was jabbing a clipboard at her, voice slicing through the quiet suburb like a siren. "You're done here. Fired from this neighborhood. Effective immediately," she bellowed, loud enough for curtains to twitch in houses down the street. Elena, bless her, looked like she'd been hit by a verbal freight train, stammering that she didn't even work for the Homeowners Association. But Vi Caldwell, the self-crowned queen of our HOA, wasn't hearing it. She just kept VYing her precious bylaw about lawn conduct, threatening to call security to drag Elena away. What Vi didn't know couldn't have known was that Elena's side gig wasn't just any job. She was a certified court officer, and the badge tucked in her purse was as real as the grass under her feet. Elena had been with us for nearly 2 years, wrangling our rambunctious 4-year-old twins with a patience I could only dream of. She was warm, steady, and had this uncanny knack for shutting down meltdowns with a single arched brow. But 3 days a week, she swapped her jeans for a crisp uniform and worked at the county courthouse, keeping order in rooms far tenser than our playroom. She never bragged about it, saying she liked the balanced toddler's chaos one day, courtroom structure the next. That afternoon, though, she made a fatal misstep in the eyes of our HOA's rulebook. While watching the twins chase each other in the yard, she let them dart barefoot across our neighbor Tom's pristine lawn during a game of hide-and-seek. Big mistake. Enter Vi, storming over in her starched tennis skirt, clipboard clutched like a battle shield. "Excuse me," she purred, her voice all sugar-coated venom, "but we have strict rules about property lines in this community." Elena, ever polite, apologized, promising to keep the kids on our side of the NVY-Cybele border. I figured that'd be the end of it, maybe a snarky note to chuckle over at dinner. But Vi had other plans. She scribbled furiously on her clipboard, muttering about formal infractions and super VY-shown failures. Within days, our mailbox was stuffed with her threatening letters. Second warning. Lawn violations may lead to community sanctions. Then, final notice. Your childcare pro VYder is engaging in repeated property transgressions. I tried calling her to talk it out, but Vi's voicemail was as cold as her smile. A week later, she ambushed Elena outside our house as she returned from the park with the twins. "I've spoken with the neighborhood committee," Vi declared, though I later learned no such meeting ever happened. "We've unanimously voted to terminate your employment in this community." She shoved a flimsy paper at Elena's homemade dismissal notice with tacky gavel clip art. "You no longer authorized a pro VY to childcare in Crestwood Pines." Elena tried explaining that Vi had no power over her job, but Vi cut her off. "If you don't leave now, I'll call the police for trespassing and child endangerment." That's when the air shifted. Elena, cool as ever, handed the twins their apple slices and said, "Mrs. Caldwell, you have no legal authority to fire me. That's my employer's call. Also, I'm a sworn court officer, and what you're doing could be considered harassment." Vi's face turned beet red, but instead of backing off, she laughed. "Court officer? Please, you think I'm falling for that bluff? I run this neighborhood." 3 days later, 2 cops showed up at Elena's door, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Vi had actually done it, filed a report claiming Elena was trespassing on community property and endangering kids by letting them play unsupervised, Vi said. The officers apologized, saying they had to follow up. Elena just nodded, grabbed her court officer badge from her room, and handed it over. One cop's eyes widened, recognized her from the courthouse. After hearing her story and seeing Vi's laughable termination notice, it didn't need Vi sing. The complaint was nonsense. Elena didn't let it slide. Within a week, she filed a real complaint with the authorities, charging Vi with harassment, defamation, and filing a false police report. The HOA board, finally clued in, launched an investigation into Vi's reign of terror. Neighbors started spilling their own stories. The Millers got fined for a mailbox that was too modern, The Chins were warned about exotic cooking smells. Even the board's treasurer admitted VY and had been acting solo, claiming full board approval for rules she'd made up. VY's empire was unraveling, and she knew it. She flooded our inboxes with desperate emails, crying that she was being targeted for upholding standards and that Elena was abusing her badge. Too late. The real authorities didn't take kindly to someone playing judge and jury. One sunny morning, as I watered my roses, a police cruiser rolled up to VY's flawless colonial, her garden gnomes gleaming in the sun. 2 officers marched to her door, while a third waited by the car. VY answered, draped in a pastel blazer, looking like she was headed to a charity brunch. The officers served her a warrant for impersonating a public official, filing false reports, and criminal harassment. Her jaw dropped, then twisted into a snarl. "This is outrageous," she shrieked, loud enough to wake the dead. "I'm the president of this HOA. I have rights." As they cuffed her, she ranted about bylaws and property values, but the officers just read her rights. Neighbors peeked from windows, some stifling grins. Elena, sitting on our porch with the twins, watched with a serene expression. My son waved cheerfully at VY as she was led to the cruiser, and I swear her eyes shot daggers. The next day, the HOA board emailed everyone. VY was outbooted from her presidency and every committee. They apologized for her overreach and promised to re-VYEW her petty violations. But the real bombshell came at her bail hearing. Turns out, this wasn't VY's first rodeo. 3 years ago, in another town, she'd been charged with harassment, a record now unsealed. The judge, who knew Elena from the courthouse, set bail at $20,000 and slapped a restraining order on VY, barring her from our street. VY's perfectly glossed lips quivered as she wrote the check, her husband standing beside her, face like stone. "This will destroy me," she hissed, loud enough for the room to hear. "What will the club think?" The judge didn't blink. "You should have considered that before inventing your own laws, Mrs. Caldwell. The neighborhood hasn't been the same since. Elena's still our rock, juggling twins and courtrooms like it's nothing. VY's house is up for sale, her gnome's long gone. But the story's got everyone talking. Was VY a tyrant who got what she deserved, or a misguided stickler for rules pushed too far? Should Elena have warned her sooner, or was letting VY dig her own grave the right call? And what about the HOA? Should we scrap it all together, or just tighten the leash? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Elena, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood sagas. What would you have done in her shoes?